what's going on, AP government people? We have unit number 5 in 10 minutes for you today. And hopefully we'll even be a little bit less. So let's just dive right into it. Monetary and fiscal policy, you need to know these two terms. They have been free response questions before. So monetary policy, this is controlled by the Federal Reserve or the Fed. They control the supply of money. They can either increase it or decrease it by influencing interest rates. Fiscal policy, this is the government spending and tax rates in a given year. So this is actual expenditures and taxes that the government brings in. Please know the difference between monetary and fiscal. The president proposes a budget, however, it's up to Congress to pass the budget each and every year. Now let's jump into the budget. Key terms. Deficit spending. This is when spending exceeds revenues. You are spending more than you bring in. A balanced budget is when the government spends as much as it brings in. And the 16th Amendment created the graduated income tax, meaning the more you make, the more you pay in taxes. I remember 16 by look at the third letter of each. 16 in tax has an X in it. That's how I remember the 16th Amendment. An excise tax is a tax on manufactured goods, and most federal spending is uncontrollable, meaning that it kind of fluctuates from year to year. It is difficult to change. Social Security is an example of uncontrollable spending, and this is increasing in recent years due to baby boomers retiring. My mom is 1 year away from collecting Social Security. So guess what? In a year from now, you'll have another person drawing on Social Security, and she's smack dab in the middle of this baby boom generation. So in the coming years, we're going to see spending on Social Security increase drastically. That is uncontrollable. Discretionary spending is spending on programs such as defense, education, etc. How the government decides to spend money. Okay, 4 key players in making the budget. You have the president in the Office of Management and Budget. We talked about that in the unit number 4 video. Congress and the CBO, interest groups, and agencies as well. And an agency funding is often based on prior year's funding. So if you want to know how much money is an agency going to receive this year, look to last year as a guide. And it usually goes up or down a little bit based on the needs of that agency in a given year. Credit claiming is very important for members of Congress. This is when a representative can go back to their district and say, listen, I got this spending here for you. Look at this money that I brought in from the federal government to help out you, my constituents. That's what credit claiming is. And that can lead to a larger budget because each person in Congress is going to advocate for their constituents. Keynesian and supply side economics. Keynesian, here he is. Mr. Keynes, he came up with this idea of advocating the government spending to help during an economic downturn. So if the economy is in trouble a little bit or going down, he says, you know what, the government should spend money to help get out of this problem. This is known as priming the pump and is often associated with Democrats. On kind of the opposite end, we have supply side economics. This advocates lower taxes, especially for businesses and the wealthy. And this is often associated with Republicans, especially Ronald Reagan, which is also known as Reaganomics. So supply side economics and Reaganomics are one and the same. So let's talk about unemployment and inflation. The unemployment rate is the percentage of Americans that are actively looking for work and cannot find it. So it's important to know you have to actively be looking for work. And during the Great Depression, the unemployment rate was very high, it's around 20 to 25%. It does not count, the unemployment rate does not count part-time or those that part-time work or those who have given up looking for a job or disgruntled people that are unemployed. Inflation is measured by the Consumer Price Index or CPI. Basically what they do is they compare prices of similar goods across years. What did these goods cost in 2000? What did they cost in 2017? If it's more in 2017, that means that there is inflation. And stagflation, this is a disaster. This is high unemployment and high inflation, and this occurred in the 1970s. This is really a politician's worst nightmare, especially a president, because they take the blame for this. Environmental and healthcare policy, we will jump on over to. Silent Spring, written by Rachel Carson. This brought awareness to environmental issues, helped lead to the formation of the EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency. This is the largest regulatory agency in the United States. The Clean Air Act was passed to help regulate air pollution, and many environmental laws are unfunded mandates on states, meaning the federal government does not give money to assist. Medicare provides health care to the elderly. This is part of Social Security. And costs are rising in recent years, again, because of that uncontrollable spending in that baby boom generation. All right, quick recap for this video. Monetary versus fiscal policy. Make sure you can explain the difference between the two. The budget, how is it made, who influences it, and what is deficit spending. Keynesian and supply side economics, be able to explain both of those. The unemployment rate, what determines that. What is inflation? Stagflation, don't ever forget about that. That's a combination of high inflation and high unemployment. Environmental agencies and acts, especially the EPA and Clean Air Act, I would be familiar with. Many environmental acts are unfunded mandates on states in which the federal government will not pay. And finally, Medicare and Social Security, uncontrollable spending. I can't stress that enough. Very important to know. All right, guys, look forward to seeing you back here for the last unit video in 10 minutes, unit number 6. We're going to see President Lyndon B. Johnson in this video. I thank you guys for watching. Best of luck on all your exams, especially the one in May, and have a good day.